What it do now, Kayla gang? We back with another story time. And you already know. I gotta tell it. Because last week I tried to do a story time on it. And it muted me. And it wouldn't even let nobody hear what I had to say. So I felt like the devil was trying to play with me. So I said I'm gonna restart when I got myself together because my heart been hurting. So I'm gonna drop this banger right here. So, when I was younger, I was only 12 and a half years old. I decided, in between 12 and 13, I think I was 12 and a half. But I decided to get on the chat line when I got back to the group home. I was living in D.C. And I decided to get on the chat line. So I gets on the chat line, I gets to talking. So I'm talking to this guy. He says, meet him. Remind y'all, we didn't have cell phones back then. We didn't have GPS and iPhones and all that. And if they did, I couldn't afford it, okay? Listen, keep up. So he says, whoop the ball. I'm like, all right, give me an address. Remind you, I ain't never been around there a day in my damn life. I don't even know how I got there. I still to this day trying to figure out, how did I get there? I don't know if I got a ride by somebody or walked. I don't know. But I got there. So we in the apartment or whatever. Remind you, the apartment looked like somebody just moved out. So we in there, whatever. We didn't even do nothing. I guess I just looked like a little girl. So he said, I'm going to the car. So he goes to the car. And he's a grown-ass man, though. I want y'all to know that. But he goes to the car, and he never comes back. He never comes back. So I'm like, what the fuck? So I start looking around. I'm like, something ain't right. Whole time. He had already moved out of the apartment. He had a whole wife. Okay? So I leaves out the apartment, trying to find my way back to where I was at. So, as I'm walking, I end up coming past this black truck. So when I walked past the black truck, this guy rolled down the window. It was a light-skinned guy. He was like, hey, how you doing? I was like, I'm trying to get a ride back home. So he was like, well, my homegirl driving the car. This her car. He's like, but I asked, he's like, you want to come sit in the car? So I'm young and dumb. I'm like, yeah, sure. So I'm sitting in the car with him. He flirting with me, whatever. I'm flirting back like I'm grown. So they come out the house. They come out the apartment. The stud girl and her stud friend comes out the apartment. So as they coming out, I'm like, that's them. He like, yeah, that's them. That's this her car. It's her truck. So they get sad. And it's like they already had a plan or something. Because I'm like, what is they doing? They just looking at each other and whispering and shit. I'm like, can y'all drop me off? So as we get halfway down the street, they're like, oh no, we ain't doing no drop-offs. I'm like, what you mean we ain't doing no drop-offs? We ain't doing no drop-offs. So at that point, I'm kidnapped. They was not trying to drop me off. That's where I learned my lesson with a lot of stuff. So as we going or whatever, she's like, oh yeah, we gonna do this, whoop the woo. And I'm like, what is they about to do to me? So they started like lying to me. Talking about, oh yeah, this crushed up candy and stuff. So I started being hip to it. And I started to hear what they were saying. They was crushing up E-pills. Or whatever they was crushing up E-pills, giving it to me. Remind you, they was giving me weed too, but I didn't know how to smoke. So weed was just sitting on me. If I would have known, I'd have saved that shit up and got the fuck about it. Okay? But I didn't. I didn't know nothing about weed. I wasn't a weed smoker. I ain't started smoking until I was 16. At that point, I was 12 and a half. I didn't know nothing about that. So I'm leaving the weed in the car. I'm just leaving the weed everywhere. I'm just like, I don't even give a fuck. I don't care. So at this point, that's when they started selling me. And they was selling me to different people. And one day, this old man tried to get me to drink his urine. And it fucked me up real bad. And I told the girl, I said, I don't know nothing about this. You feel what I'm saying? These people, they robbing people, everything. I'm standing in this girl's house. She got me kidnapped in the house. At this time, she had a 15-year-old stepdaughter. The girlfriend living there with a wife living there with her. They got 3 kids. I'm playing with the kids because I'm so young. I'm playing with them or whatever when I'm there. Then the next thing you know, they take me out. They just doing different stuff with me. Like, it was sick. It was sick. So next thing you know, one day I'm getting my hair done by their daughter named Kalia. Me and her became close. And she was telling me everything about all the girls that they had kidnapped and brought there. And she said a lot of them didn't never make it out. Like something happened to them in so many words. So I'm sitting there getting my hair done, and a boy that the girl hangs with, he pulled out a perm. And he was like, if you ever put this in your mouth, and he like, I want you to know if you ever leave, I'm gonna blow your shit. At that point, I'm scared, but I'm plotting and planning to go. Okay. So one day we go to the strip club, and they got me so high off them e-pills that I'm throwing water on the strippers. I can't tell you nothing that happened. If it wasn't for Khalil, I wouldn't even know. They was throwing water on the strippers everywhere. Like they had me throwing it on the strippers. I'm so high up that I ain't got no idea I'm in there. All I see is blue. All I see is blue. That's all I see. I ain't see nobody, no strippers, no nothing. Then I kept snatching my wigs off. They would try to dress me like I'm grown. So I kept telling the girl, like, I'm 14. I kept making up different ages. I'm like, I'm not ready for this. Like, I want to go. She like, well, I got you. I'm just trying to get you this car. I'm just trying to get you this car. I'm like, how you going to try to get me a car? I'm only 12 and a half, 13 years old. How am I going to get a car? What did you talk about? Don't you want that Grand Marquis? Because I always liked them Grand Marquis cars. She's like, don't you want that Grand Marquis? And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, that's all. Like, you're selling me and using me. I'm only 12. But I look at it now, that is sick as shit. You got kids in there that's babies. And it ain't like I'm telling you that I'm telling you how old I am. So you can let me go. And one day they leave, and they leave Kalia in charge of me and said, don't let her go nowhere. So me and Kalia upstairs, so I'm like about to go downstairs and get something to eat. So I went downstairs and I picked up the phone, and the phone ain't had no fucking dials on. So at that point I said, bitch, if you don't get out here now, you gonna die. I was already gone for 6 months. Bitch, if you don't get out here now, you're gone. Next thing you know, I was going to grab some clothes. I said, no, bitch, you don't know if they outside. Go. I ran out the door. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. I go to the rental office. I dropped on the floor. I'm crying. I said, please help me. I've been kidnapped. I said, I've been trafficked. So the lady called the ambulance. They put me in the ambulance. And I get to the hospital. My mother gonna scare me and gonna say, you know, if you stay here, they gonna lock you up for prostitution. I'm like, what? I just been kidnapped and sex trafficked. I was so scared when my mother said that I left. Because I didn't know nothing about that. I'm like, you know, she scared me. So when I got back home, my mother, when I walked through the door, my mother looked at me. She was crying. My mother ain't seen me in almost 7 months. She ain't hear from me nothing. My mother had obituaries written up. Her and my dad, they had obituaries written up. My mother was crying. I had this hair in my head. She was like, you look like a fucking hooker. Like, this not my baby. Like, what did they do to my baby? Like, she was crying. And that's something that messed me up, because it's like growing up, that was like in your head as you grow up and you become 15 and 16. Like, I believe God gave me my kids so I wouldn't have that mentality once I got a certain age. It really messed me up, because even when I got to a certain age after having my kids, I always used that tactic, you know, and it kind of like, I can't understand it now. It's like, that's not the only way to make money. You know, our bodies are precious. Even when we are trafficked, you know, we are being sold to the highest bidder for our bodies. I can't express it no more. Like, I tell my daughter all the time, like, know your worth. Be careful. Nowadays, it's happening, you know. So I say this, one day I was walking after I had my daughter, me and my baby father, and I saw them at the gas station on North Avenue, and I tapped my baby father and I said, "That's them." You know how something traumatized you so bad, you know what you're talking about. I said, "That's them." My baby father was going to go over there. I said, "No, you go over there. They probably gonna kill you and kidnap me and my daughter and put her in sex trafficking, put me in sex trafficking again." Like, no, we just gonna keep walking. But I want you to know that's them. So it's like coming up, I always been afraid that I would run across them again. Um, Now that I'm grown, I already like come on with it. Like, I wish I had the chance to like get them prosecuted for what they did, because I know they probably did that to so many other little girls. And then they had kids of their own. It's just sick. It's just sick when I think about it. But stay off this internet talking to grown men, y'all. Stop going out to date everybody. Everybody ain't right. Know your worth. Even y'all young men. Stay safe, because they're the same ones. These trafficking young girls to set you up and go and see them and all. Be careful who you meet. Have your eyes open in the front and have your mind understanding, okay? And we out. On game. Can't wear no way.